Kumar Rajgopalan, CEO of the Retail Association of India. I do not personally know many of the dignitaries who are part of this gathering today. All the distinguished CEOs and representatives of the who's who of the retail world in India. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a sheer pleasure, a privilege and an honor to be part of this flagship event of RIDE for this year being held at Delhi. So when Kumar asked me if we can have it on the 15th in Delhi, I said yes, let's have it on the 15th. And it is good to, touch each other, shake hands and feel the body language rather than just keep communicating over the VCs, which we've got used to over the last almost 2 years. What I see here is a galaxy of the best of what India has to offer in the retail space. And I have certain ideas for you which you can look at, and if you find interesting, I'm sure you will some of those ideas, and which we together can take forward. So first of all, let me give you a perspective of retail as an industry and where does it fit into the government scheme of things. So till 2018, retail trade was not officially a subject assigned to any of the Government of India ministries. Trade is essentially a state subject. So it is being dealt with at the state levels. There is one entry which says interstate trade. So interstate trade, of course, falls into the domain of the Government of India. And by that extension, e-commerce falls into the domain of Government of India. So e-commerce is with Government of India, but retail trade is not. And if you look at a little more legal provisions, there are some commodities where Government of India can also make policies, state governments can also make policies. So that there is a common ground policy. Nevertheless, there is always this hand-holding, providing of a broad direction. That is the kind of work that Government of India has always been doing. For example, Shops and Establishment Act. Now the Shops and Establishment Act is actually a state subject. Every state government enacts an act. But Government of India has given a model act to the state governments to legislate that and keep those provisions. Government of India has also given a model police act to all the state governments to implement that. Similarly, what we are trying to do here is create a kind of model framework which could be a guiding framework for the state governments and also help interstate trade when we talk about it. So one of the things that has been in the works for some time is a national retail trade policy. We must have a retail trade policy. We are actively working for it and we are reasonably there. We are very soon likely to open it for public consultations. We are almost there. Broadly, if I tell you the contours of what it has. So the first thing that we are trying to address is ease of doing business. So how many licenses do you have to take if you have to open one store? Sorry? You are saying 72. Any other number? It would depend on the kind of industry that you are in. Right? So somebody says 27. 27 is the number that we got minimum. And then, somebody else said 56. 72 I am hearing for the first time. Sorry? I can't hear you. Okay, so for one store, you will have about huge number of licenses. So what we are trying to say is it possible to rationalize this number? Is it possible to look at, do you actually need a license to do something? Can registration not do the purpose of a license? Then if you have to have a registration or a license, can we not enhance the duration? So the duration is, now if you require that renewal to be done in 1 year, can we not do it in 5 years? Can we not do it in 10 years? Like we've done for motor vehicles. We used to pay, the registration charges every 2 years or 3 years. Now we are doing it for the entire lifetime. Can the same thing not be done here? Then there are specific acts on which we've got some very good suggestions from RAI, your body. FSSAI you've seen, Essential Commodities, Shops and Establishment Act, Factories Act. Why should some provisions of the Factories Act be applicable to godowns and some retails? There are absolutely right questions to ask. We are actually looking at these things on how this compliance burden for retail can be reduced. So this is one of the major pillars that is part of the National Retail Trade Policy. The next is about access to finance. How can we have access to low cost finance? And as Kumar has just told you, we've been able to get wholesale and retail both trade under the MSME definition. Now this is a huge win for the retail sector, huge win, because it opens up the priority sector lending for you. So, and priority sector lending is mostly done by private banks, and their portfolios have huge amounts of loans given to retailers. If you go to PSU banks, they may not have a lot of money given to retailers in priority sector lending. But most of the private sector banks have a huge exposure to retailers in priority sector lending. This is one of the important pieces in access to finance. Whole lot of other things which can ease, availability of credit, not just through the conventional means, but are there other unconventional methods of availability of cheaper finance for businesses? That is what we are trying to look at. And there are huge, proven models which can actually do this. And those of you who are slightly into the fintech world, into the startups and innovation world, you will realize, you would know that there are daily new products coming in for providing very, very economical finance at any levels, even at very, very micro levels and even at larger volumes. The next piece about retail policy is on infrastructure. There is a overarching philosophy of the government to reduce cost of logistics and the distribution services. So one piece is how you reduce the cost of logistics and movement of goods from the manufacturers to the end consumers. This entire chain of distribution. How do we optimize? How do we reduce the cost? And what is the necessary infrastructure that is required for this end-to-end operation? It is not just about physical godowns. It's about technology-enabled warehouses where there are a whole lot of efficiencies in operations. There is technology embedment into there has been suggestions on markets could be redeveloped into modern retail areas. So many of you have been asking for entertainment zones around malls and retail and shopping experiences and all that. So that is the newest experience that we have. Another very important piece is about skill development. So we as part of the RASI, the Retail Association Skill Development Council, we've been trying to get some NSQF courses and see that industry utilizes skilled manpower for your day-to-day operations. So what we've done right now is like 3-year course with IGNOU. Can we not have 6 months courses with IGNOU? That is the need of that. And NSQF is one way of doing it. Can we not have smaller diploma courses, 6-month duration with IGNOU? That's a huge thing which opens up. And let's try to do it in Indian languages. Not just about English. It has to be about Indian language. I would request all of you to ask for detail specific skills when it comes to employment in your areas. It will open up a huge market for skilled manpower which is tailored to your requirements. It will help efficiencies. It will also help professionalization of this entire chain. There are some other pieces relating to welfare and other things. One of the very interesting ideas that Kumar mentioned is the digital commerce. So I see, a lot of players here in this room who have one physical store or two.
Only a mindset, there is nothing else. You are already doing everything. Add the digital component to your store. This is what I would say. And see your sales going n number of times. We've seen a whole lot of success stories of the sweet shops professionalizing and then utilizing the digital commerce way of branding, franchising and creating huge businesses out of it. If you have 1 or 2 physical stores, you need to seriously have a look at that. That is something that you must have a look at. Yeah. And after all, it's about utilizing the latest technologies. And when you get into this space, the next big idea, which is actually a transformational thing, is what we call as open network for digital commerce. And you know how this came about? In April and May 2020, when from Government of India, we were trying to see that essential commodities reach individuals who are in containment zones. So if there is one building, different floors, different people in containment zones, they can't get out of their houses. There is a retailer on the crossroads. He is also on a digital platform. After all, everybody is on WhatsApp now. He is on some platform. They are all on one platform, but then they can't connect to each other. So if you have to onboard one seller on one platform, he can reach some customers, but he needs to get onto another platform to get onto the another set of customers. There is a huge disconnect there, and efficiencies are not there. Now, this, just to explain that idea, do you need to be on one particular emailing platform to be able to send mails to each other? No. So, for example, I can be on Gmail, you can be on Hotmail, and we can still exchange mails, right? But this doesn't happen in e-commerce. So, if you are on a platform A, if you are a customer on that platform, you can buy stuff only from retailers who are on that platform. You can't buy from anyone else. Why should it be like this? Right? Now, why should it happen like this? On internet, when you want to get any information from another website, do you have to be on the same browser? कि Chrome पे आप यहाँ हैं और Chrome पे आप वहाँ रहेंगे, तभी information exchange होगा. ऐसा है क्या? You can use any browser. You can use Chrome, you can use Edge, you can use Safari, you can use anything else, right? How is this working? There is this underlying protocol which we call as hypertext transfer protocol, right? For emails we call as simple mail transfer protocol. Now you look at what UPI has done. I'm sure everybody is using UPI here. Almost everyone. Almost universal. Now with UPI there is one protocol which has connected every financial institution for receiving and sending money. One protocol. They have enabled everything. Right? So we thought, can we not do the same thing for commerce? So if there is someone who has to sell 50 items, and there is a buyer who needs to discover one of the items that this person is selling, right? Why does it have to be on platform A or platform B or platform C? Can it not be registered at one common place? Imagine the power of this. So instead of a seller registered on platform A or platform B or platform C, you are registered with some protocol where everyone registered with that registry is visible to every customer. Look at the power of this. Right? So if a customer has to get onboarded on Amazon, for example, there is a process that they have laid down. They have certain rules. Engagement with sellers. If you go to Flipkart, another set of rules. If you go to Big Basket, another set of rules. Can we have a common set of rules? So if a panwala in my mohalla, if he also wants to sell his pan digitally, and he wants to be discovered if somebody wants to buy pan, why should he route himself through one of these players where he has to pay a lot of commissions? That is the idea. We've been working for this. Idea sounds very nice. How about technology? The technology that powers this. And let me tell you, the technology has been developed. We have the protocols ready right from A to Z of this entire value chain of commerce. Entire value chain of commerce. So, for example, एक किराना स्टोर को ऑनबोर्ड करने के लिए सबसे पहले क्या चाहिए? He needs to have a कैटलॉग कि मेरे पास ये सामान है, इतनी क्वांटिटी है, ये मेरा प्राइस है, राइट? फंडामेंटली तो यही है ना. So we are now getting this piece developed which is reusable, and it is all based on open standards. So like based on UPI, you have Google Pay. So Google has developed an entire application based on that protocol, UPI protocol. Paytm has created another app with their own features based on an open protocol which is called UPI. Similarly, we are looking at thousands and thousands of applications on buyer side and on seller side being developed in a short span of time. We are reasonably there. And just to give you an idea of the capability of this model, the best tech minds of this country are working on it. So those who've done Aadhaar, those who've done the national, the CoWIN app, those are the kind of minds that are working on this project. Just to give you the seriousness of this effort, an idea of the seriousness of this effort. And it is not about just the, sale and purchase. It is going to be about fulfillment. So, अभी मैं अपने घर में बैठ के किसी बड़े प्लेटफॉर्म से कोई चीज ऑर्डर करता हूं, वो 50 किलोमीटर दूर के वेयर हाउस से मेरे पास अलग से गाड़ी में आता है. उसकी कॉस्ट मैं तो पे कर रहा हूं. इफ आई वॉन्ट टू ऑर्डर अ स्मॉल कंसाइनमेंट, मुझे केवल ब्रेड खरीदनी है, तो जो चौराहे पे जिस दुकान पे ब्रेड अवेलेबल है वो अपना लड़का भेज के मुझे फ्री में डिलीवर करेगा ना. देयर आर एफिशिएंसीज, देयर आर एफिशिएंसीज इन दिस एंटायर मॉडल. सो वी आर ट्राइंग टू create this model, and the purpose of this is very clear. See, the purpose of the retail trade policy is to permit a holistic development of all forms of retail trade, which means पान वाला भी है उसमें, और जो छोटा चौराहे वाला रिटेलर है, किराने की दुकान है, वो भी है, and the big brands like you are also there, and the e-commerce platforms. It's all retail, internal trade. So this is what is the thinking at the government level on which we are now working. We are likely to be opening up this entire thing in the next month. बहुत जल्दी होने वाला है. And I would request you guys to have a look at it very seriously, adopt it from day one, so as to be able to take full advantage of this. For a consumer, how will it work is, मैंने किसी चीज का सर्च किया, वो जहां पर भी अवेलेबल है, अगर वो सेलर अमेजॉन पे वो भी दिखेगा, फ्लिपकार्ट पे वो भी दिखेगा, बिग बास्केट में वो भी दिखेगा, और मेरे मोहल्ले में वो भी दिखेगा. दिस इज हाउ द होल कॉन्सेप्ट इज, राइट? सो वी आर वर्किंग एट दिस एंड वी बिलीव इट इज ट्रांसफॉर्मेशनल. दिस इज गोइंग टू बी द नेक्स्ट UPI of commerce, which we call as ONDC, and extremely proud to say we believe that this is going to be the next made in India for the world. This has that potential. Since I am talking to a very accomplished group of individuals here, I would also request you to look at what is happening in the startup area. If I just give you a small idea. You look at any Fortune 20 list of this year, let's say 21. आप 10 साल पुरानी फॉर्च्यून 20 की लिस्ट देखिए, 20 साल पुरानी देखिए, 50 साल की देखिए, कोई भी दो लिस्ट को कंपेयर करिए. एंड लुक एट द कॉमन एंट्रीज. यू विल फाइंड 10 साल में सारा चेंज हो जाता है. वो जो 10 साल पहले जो लिस्ट थी वो अभी में एकदम चेंज हो गई. 2-3 कंपनीज कॉमन होंगी. एंड देन इफ यू सी व्हाट कुड बी द रीजन व्हाई दीज कंपनीज आर स्टिल देयर. जो 10 साल पहले भी थी आज भी, ऐसा क्या है उसमें? द ओनली थिंग दैट हेल्प्स देम बी देयर इज इनोवेशन. They are continuously innovating. They are continuously innovating their products, their services, their offerings to the customer, and they are creating value for the society as a whole. And that is why they are there. Now, this applies to each business. It applies to industry. It applies to each retailer also. You are used to doing a way of business for generations. You may have inherited, right? But unless you innovate on a daily basis, my ask is daily basis. Unless you are innovating on a daily basis, you are not up to the mark. And for that, can we have an institutional mechanism? Kumar, think about this. Can we have an institutional mechanism where the technologies, the solutions that you want to develop for your members, can we run hackathons? Can we go out to the colleges in India, the tech colleges, and ask for particular solutions that you need and then utilize them for your businesses? See, it is something that we need to believe on. I know it's tough to do that. अरे कहाँ होगा, हमसे नहीं होगा. करके देखते हैं क्या होगा, कुछ नहीं होगा. At the most, you end up spending some money, but maybe gaining some experience, which will give you another idea. You might actually, think of doing something absolutely out of the world. And this is not just to Kumar, this is just for everyone. If you are into innovation, you are sure to be there in the next 10 years. If you are not innovating, you are on to yourself. This is engage with startups. We have huge base of startups working in every field, whichever is your industry. You want to do efficiency in your store operations, in your logistics, in your warehousing, distribution, whatever you want to do. In your own product lines, I can see Mr. Mohan sitting here. So in footwear, if you want to have technologies developed, can we engage startups in that field? Whole lot of people. Let's try to do that. From Government of India perspective, we are absolutely available round the clock for any issues that the industry may have, and to provide all the necessary support that is required. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. And now I would request Dr. N. Mohan, ED and CEO, Clarks India and RAI Council member to be here on stage, please. And I would also love to invite once again Shri Anil Agrawalji, Additional Secretary, DPIIT, Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Government of India. Thank you so much, sir, for coming here. And for felicitation, I would request our staff to please be here on stage. Thank you so much. Can we have big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, please?